Welcome to the Wellness for Women show, where we talk about life, weight loss and everything in between. I'm Faye Caseman, founder of the AAA Way Life and Weight Loss Programme, and I'm here to help you put together the pieces of life and weight loss for one last time. This is an episode of the Wellness for Women show, filmed live in the free Facebook group. Hello, and welcome to the Wellness for Women show, episode number 67. And this episode is all about discovering the power of food choices for intuitive eating and weight loss. So, what is your experience with diets and food? Let me know in the chat if you are watching on video podcast. I would love for you to come and join the free Wellness for Women group. It would be great to know your thoughts. So yeah, let me know, what is your experience with diets and food? Well, so for me, I can tell you that all I heard was a list of foods you can and cannot eat, even if the diets were more inclusive and said you can eat what you want, there was still limitations set and deterrents. Or maybe there was a complex menu that just didn't work practically for my life when I was trying to figure out the weekly shop, let alone the sets of tastes that perhaps were within the household at the time. Oh my God, it's just so frustrating trying to plan food, trying to find food that I was allowed to eat. So sure, I love looking at all the food pictures when I'm trying to get inspiration. I feel super inspired, but the reality was that half the time they just weren't practical, or I felt too constrained. And it's no wonder, really, for me, that intuitive eating works so well for me, as we can eat all the foods we love without guilt and shame. Now, a common misunderstanding or thoughts that people might have about intuitive eating is that you can't lose weight, or that you would gain weight if you ate everything that you wanted. So maybe the phrase "eat what you want" needs a little bit of clarity, as well as how you can still eat what you love, and if you are working on losing weight. Although true pure intuitive eating wouldn't be about weight or weight loss. And I always say that I use the phrase because it's a common phrase, but it doesn't necessarily mean weight loss either. You know, you could be just working on your wellness or well-being. So let me know what your takeaways are from this episode. So if you're in the free Facebook group, if you're watching this on my profile, or if you're watching this on YouTube next year, then let me know what your comments are. And as usual, super quick introduction from me. I'm Faye Casement. I am a certified life coach, and I want to help you to ditch the diet drama and find more joy in the weight loss process with my simple food and life freedom method, the AAA Way, because I believe that you deserve to feel amazing inside and out. So check out the link in the descriptions if you want to know more. So one of the first things that I heard my coach say is eat what you want. And I took that literally. And I can honestly say I've eaten everything that I wanted. And if you're watching on video, you'll be able to see a selection of food photos that I found on my phone. So you may be wondering then, how the hell did you lose weight, Faye? Well, it was simple. I played about with quality and quantity, and it was all about finding the balance. Now, usually when you think about balanced diets, there is still a big set of rules and a list of do's and don'ts. But I never once said I can't have something. As soon as you say you can't have something, what do you feel? You feel restricted. And what happens if you feel restricted? You end up in the diet cycle and likely craving the things that you're telling yourself you can't have. And it's a fundamental reason why diets don't work. Some diets will say you can have whatever you want, but then when you tot up all the points or the calories, your heart actually sinks. And so again, you end up feeling a lot of guilt and shame. And it's important to notice any resistance that comes up for you, no matter what it is that you choose to do, whether it's my method or you're working on another method, or whether you've joined the Backstage Pass or not joined the Backstage Pass. You know, it's ultimately just about seeing what's coming up for you. And so in this episode, I want to cover food quality. So, good foods and bad foods. So, if you've watched previous shows, you'll know I strongly encourage you don't view food as good or bad, due to the fact that this type of black and white thinking leads us back into the diet cycle. And when you think of food as good and bad, it's then that slippery slope to starting to say that you've been good or bad. And the language we use in our day-to-day lives has so much more power than we realise, as our brains are always listening. Jumping into your thought bubbles again a moment here, you might be thinking, okay, so if you don't recommend points or calories and you don't recommend calling food good and bad, then how the hell do we actually play about with food quality? So I'm going to tell you, just in case that is what you are thinking. So not all meals are created equal. True, pure, intuitive eating is not about actively working on weight loss, as I said earlier, but one of the principles is about honouring your health, and it can include soft nutrition. So for many, they can lose weight through just following the general principles, by focusing on listening to their body, which I'll cover next week. But your food choices can be so much more than about weight loss. Maybe you're seeking to improve the quality or quantity of certain foods due to medical conditions, like I talked about last week. Or maybe you are looking to up your nutrient intake for a boost of energy, or you're trying certain foods to help balance your hormones. It's all about exploring different ingredients, understanding the nutritional value of food, and making conscious decisions to work on eating foods that perhaps promote your health and well-being and your goals, whether that be weight loss, energy, cholesterol, blood pressure, etc., whatever that might be. But it doesn't always mean eating clean or healthy, but likewise, it doesn't always mean eating chocolate. I mean, technically, there is no rule anywhere that says you can't only eat chocolate. But sadly, this may not be the best choice for your overall or long-term health. But we can learn to eat chocolate in a way that suits our purposes. But even chocolate is not created equally. Keep it simple. This for me was the key. The simpler the better, and to always look for the joy factor. So what can simple look like? So I want to use one of my all-time favourite foods as an example: toast. I absolutely love toast. So when thinking about food quality and keeping it simple and the joy factor, what do we have to consider? First of all, it's what is available. What do you like? What do you want to try? That's it, really. You don't have to worry about points, calories, weighing anything, checklists, or shouting out on Facebook if you can eat XXX on X diet, or how many points are in a yogurt. If I had a pound for every time I saw that when I was on a certain worldly diet. There are so many bread options to choose from, for example, when you're looking at toast, and various places to buy it. Will it be a supermarket? Will you go to a baker? Or will you even bake your own? Will you have white, wholemeal, brown, granary, sourdough, seeded, rye, gluten-free? Will you have a 400-gram tin, 800-gram tin, bloomer, soft, super thick toasty, thick slice, thin slice, or something like nimble? The nutritional value in each of these, the ingredients, the additives, everything like that will vary dramatically. And then next, you've got to pick your toppings. So is it lashings of butter or a modest lick of butter, margarine, no butter, or marge? And then what? Is it going to be no extra topping, Marmite, jam, peanut butter, chocolate spread, honey? I hope I'm demonstrating how, I say, all food is not created equal. And I've only spoken about toast. Old diet ways would have been, for me, 2 slices of something like nimble bread, because you could have more slices on certain diets. I'd probably use a teaspoon and try and guess the weight of the lowest fat marge that I could get, and then probably have Marmite, because that was usually free on most diets, or negligible if you were counting calories. It was okay, I suppose, but it was not a way to live forever. Sometimes I just wanted a decadent, pure joy piece of toast. I want a thick doorstep with lashings of butter, or I want chocolate spread to tickle my taste buds. And old dieting would have made me feel guilty for even contemplating such frivolity. But I've eaten both of these throughout my weight loss journey. My typical go-to actually is a mix of all different toppings on half slices, because I just want all the tastes. I really like just having the experience of all the different tastes and textures. And sometimes I eat seeded bread and sometimes I eat white bread, and that's because I personally don't like wholemeal or brown, so I don't eat it. But if I wanted to work on perhaps increasing my fibre or something like that, I would be exploring different types of bread, but I choose not to. And what I found was that the more I freed myself up and said I could have whatever I wanted while simultaneously powering up, which I'll come on to in a bit, the more I changed my relationship with food. And as I became a free foodie rather than a despondent dieter, working on my weight loss actually felt enjoyable and fun. So what are power-ups? So I mentioned power-ups a minute ago. Power-ups are simple. They are taking the things that you want and trying to up-level them in some way. So if you think of everything on a sliding scale, and if you take toast again, for example, you might, it depends again what you're working on. If it was about trying to save calories, if you were a calorie counter, like I say, not that I am, but you know, that might be one end of the scale, whereas my decadent every topping under the sun on a doorstep bread might be down the other sliding scale of that. But again, as an intuitive style eater, you can have anything on that spectrum, and you can push the boat out and have that end if you want to, or you can try and go towards that end. But the key is not to feel restricted. So like I say, maybe one week you might buy white bread, another week you might buy seeded. Sometimes I actually play a game to see if I can go a week without toast, just swapping it out for fruit and yogurt. And sometimes I just mix it all up in the week. It's just about thinking about it and seeing what actually works for you and seeing what comes up. So do you feel resistant? Do you feel guilty for eating certain foods? Do you worry about eating certain foods? Do you have a belief that vegetables are horrible and tasteless? Do you think that you should be clean living? Do you worry about additives? All of these things need to be explored and considered and then worked on with mindfulness if required. Again, the key here is about not feeling restricted. And in order to do that, it's about exploiting the power of choice. So the power of choice. Choice is a bit of a tale of two halves. With choice could sound like you're giving into your absolute heart's desires, with every single women fancy being catered for. And in a way, this is what you're working on if you want to become a free foodie. But you also then need to factor into it the third A of the AAA method, which is accountability. Holding yourself accountable and taking full and complete unfettered ownership of your life and achieving your goals. And if you acted purely on desire, of course, which is what we tend to do when we're not actively working towards our goals, then most of us would be back to eating chocolate 24/7. But when you add in the fact that you have the fact that you have set your goals and dreams, and that you're going to then hold yourself accountable to those with love, then the question is all you have to check is that you've set that path and that you are clear on who you are and who you want to be. And if you are in the Backstage Pass membership, then I certainly encourage you to go through the Awakening Awareness section of the Food Freedom course. So listen to your mind, the superpower of curiosity. So again, on that note, let's touch on my other favourite superpower of curiosity. Loving curiosity is the linchpin to sustainable change. You get to put together the pieces of your life jigsaw. And by being curious, you can question your beliefs and your opinions about what food you should or should not eat. And when you start to explore those different ingredients and understand the impact of their nutrient values on your body, you can make more mindful decisions about what actually goes into your body and what could be impacting you from achieving your goals. And it's about trying those different foods, trying those different recipes. And if something doesn't work for you, leave it out and try something else, or try it again later. This is a journey of personal discovery, so fill it with experimentation, fun, and laughter. And my hope for you as you start to tinker with your food choices is that you make conscious and empowering choices around the quality of your food that you eat, and so that you can create an enabling way to power up your food choices in a sustainable way. So how could you get curious with your food choices today? What experimentation could you have a go at? What's something that you've not tried? And let me know in the chat below if you're watching on video. So the superpower of forgiveness. So lastly, I want to end on the power of forgiveness. I want you to forgive yourself for your past and to promise to forgive yourself in the future. Your past is your past. Where you have been does not have to be where you are heading. Accepting what is means you don't have to suffer anymore. It doesn't mean tolerating and putting up with crap, but it does mean understanding and loving yourself deeply. And in terms of the future, whilst experimenting, things will happen and proverbially, I can't get that out, go wrong in your eyes. And you will make choices that you later question. You will forget you have a choice, that you can be curious, and you probably will forget that you can forgive yourself as well. But hopefully this show may cross your path just at the right time and help you to remember. Because weight loss or any goals that you are working on is not impacted in the long run by one singular meal, but it is by a series of choices and actions, some of which you'll win and some of which you'll lose. But the key is to never stop trying. So wrapping it up, when it comes to intuitive style eating and sustainable weight loss or habit changes, playing about with food quality is key. Intuitive style eating should be a journey of self-discovery, exploration, experimentation, and most importantly, fun. And it's about making those conscious and empowering choices around the quality of your food, powering up your food choices in an enabling way. And lastly, always remember to forgive yourself, as this is the only way to unlock genuine, lasting change. And the purpose of this show was to remind you that you can have food freedom and feel empowered by your food choices, that you are able to make conscious decisions around the quality of your food without feeling deprived, without feeling restricted, without actually feeling like you're on a diet. Okay, folks, that is it for this week. And if you want to work with me, make sure you check out the description box for ways in which you can do that. And if you are a member, your Backstage Pass weekly resource will be dropping soon, so watch out for the announcements in the support group. It is going to be a resource all about food quality that will help you to look at all your different options. And on that note, I'm going to love you all and leave you, and I will see you all next week. Bye for now. Thanks for listening, and don't forget, if you want to boost your life and weight loss the AAA way, check out the relevant links for today's show in the description. Speak soon.